What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Ron Pierce Sports, bringing to you once again. We got the Strokes Gain show. We got our guys. We got the fellas. We got Snyder. We got a special guest, Uncle T. I'm excited, man. It's been a while. It's been a long while. And hold on, 1 second. There he is, the man of the hour. We got Drew Matthews, Red Kachik. What's going on, Drew? I got to go back to Uncle T. It's been a while since I've done a show with him. I mean, it's like Uncle T. It's tough to get you on the Tuesday show to get you in here. So, how we doing, my man? How long has it been? It's been like maybe a year since we've done a show together. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, first off, it is good to be back. I mean, I remember those early days when you and me and Snyder and Big T, whoever it was, we're on these shows, and the Tuesday night show was a lot of fun, and it's great to be back. Great to be back on again with you and Snyder, picking some winners. And we got our guy Drew here, also joining us. And, we got a lot to talk about, right? We do still have a tournament to where we can make some money this week. Obviously, DFS, that's what we're here for. But, a lot of, and we'll get into it, I'm sure, AP, right? A lot of big news. We were talking off air, and it's as big a golf people as we are. It definitely shook up the golf world today. It's been talked about all day. But, no, it's great to be back on with you guys. Look forward to breaking down this RBC Canadian Open this week.
Yeah, and surprisingly, I'm pretty far behind on all the news and what went down. Obviously, I know about it, but I've had zero time to really, read any of this stuff. So, Drew, let's bring you in, my man, because before we get to Snyder, I got a question. You tweeted out a video yet. Were you in a U.S. Open qualifier? Is that what that was? Were you on TV? What's going on, my man?
No, the one yesterday was not me. It was
oh, okay. I thought when I saw that, I was at night, and I was like, I'm like,
no,
our guys in a qualifier.
We do look similar, but no, it wasn't me.
Okay, was that?
He played with Carlos Ortiz. Ortiz got through. He played with Carlos Ortiz, yeah. But he had a rough morning round in the afternoon. I think he played pretty well, but missed the cut. Only the top three at that site got through. So
my question is, have you ever done a U.S. Open qualifier?
I have, yeah. Yeah, I got
multiple, I guess.
Yes, yeah, I do it almost.
Nice.
I took a break in 2014 through 2017, but yeah, every year before that for a while I did it, and since then I've done it. So it's fun.
Is it truly the longest day in golf?
It's long, yeah. So yeah, it's for as much slack as they get for pace of play. We play 36 holes in one day. We tee off a normal time, 7:55 or 8:30. Then you finish, and you either have a tee time 1:05, or it's 45 minutes after you finish. Then you go right back out, so you get a quick lunch and you change your shirt usually because you're sweating through it in Florida, and then you're done by 6. So yeah, you can't get 18 holes in on the PGA Tour, but somehow we get 36 in one day. So it is a very, very long day. It's pretty fun.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Snyder, saving the best for last. What's going on, my man? How are you feeling about the Canadian Open this week?
It's all right. I mean, there's a few names in this event, but I think it's a kind of lesser watered down event. There's still winners we've had though. We'll find them here. Looking forward to LACC though next week for sure.
Yeah, we got the U.S. Open obviously next week. And before we dive in, do me a favor, a couple favors actually. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Helps us out a lot over here at Ron Pierce Sports. Leave a comment. Go to the YouTube comments, not the chat. Let me say that again because we did this the other day. The YouTube comments. Tell me who you think's going to win. And actually give me your top 3. We'll do something special next week for the U.S. Open. So your winner and then your next 2 highest placing golfers for this week at the Canadian Open. Snyder, we got a 4-man booth. I would sit here and love to talk everything that's gone down. I mean, we could if you want, but we got a 4-man booth. We got a lot of golf to talk. I do think it's an interesting week with everything going on. And I do think naturally these things are all going to be intertwined with all the drama going on. Some players may be a little bit more emotional with everything going on. So maybe it has an impact DFS-wise. Maybe it doesn't. Most likely it doesn't. That's kind of my lean. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to get everyone's perspective. Snyder, give us a course breakdown this week at the Canadian Open.
Yeah, we're here at Oakdale Country Club for the first time here for this Canadian Open. This is a true members country club here without any special renovations to account for a PGA event here. It's going to be a unique setup as well. 12 par 4s, 3 par 5s, 3 par 3s here. The par 72 is going to measure 7,264 yards, and I expect a full-on birdie fest here this week. I think the winning score is going to be somewhere in the -16 to -20 range here. I think there will be a few tough holes here on the front nine, but we should see a lot of driver and wedges here. 8 of the par 4s, I think, are going to leave players with wedges in their hands approaching these greens. There's going to be 7 holes with water in play as a creek runs through the property here. The rough looks to be pretty thick here at around 4 to 5 inches thick, though. The fairways are only 25 yards wide on average as well, with some tree-lined fairways. Slightly larger than average greens here, though, at around 6,000 square feet on average. The par 5s will be attackable here, especially hole 18 that's going to play under 500 yards. Some of the key stats we'll be looking at this week: strokes gained approach, birdies are better percentage, opportunities gained, total driving, and then putting with an emphasis on bent grass.
Nice. Very good. Anytime like we're at the Canadian Open, it's just I automatically go to like my model that emphasizes scoring just because I know these guys are going to go low. And that seems to be the case this week. The course seems pretty short. I think it's going to be favorable. It usually is. And I don't know, it can bring some interesting dynamics into play. You get kind of wonky leaderboards at times when you get these birdie fest type of events. So it's going to be awesome breaking it down for you guys. How we do it each and every week, we go tier by tier, starting with the studs up top using DraftKings pricing. 10K and up, we have 3 guys, I believe, this week. Haddon up to Rory. Uncle T, I'm going to start with you. We're going to go Uncle T. We're going to go Drew. We're going to go Snyder. Uncle T, what are you doing with the 10K and up range?
Yeah, we got Rory up top. Probably will be the highest owned player. Probably upwards of 30%, maybe more than that in some of the higher dollar tournaments. Snyder said first time at this course, but he is the 2-time defending champ. Not at this course, but plays well up there, has played well up there. He went through a tough stretch there, a month or so ago, or last probably 4, 5, 6 weeks. And then the last couple of tournaments, a couple T7s playing really well. But at 11.5, I'd probably much rather go down to, $1,000 cheaper. I know a little sticker shock with Sam Burns, but as we'll talk through these tiers, guys, obviously some of these guys are much higher priced, and we'll quickly see it in the 9K range. We're used to seeing those guys in the 8K range, so it's all relative to the strength of the field. But I'd much rather probably go down, guys, to Sam Burns. Only about 15% is what I'm seeing from Burnsy. And the last couple of weeks, T16 at the Memorial and T6 at the Colonial, I think it's a nice little pivot. Save a little bit of salary, save some ownership as far as that goes. So I kind of like Burns. And then, again, only one other guy here, Tyrrell Hatton. Guy I don't normally like to play a ton, but, man, this guy's been cruising. Been playing a lot more tournaments this year, and he's got 5 straight top 19 finishes. So, again, he'll be pretty high owned too up here. But the short answer here, AP, on this upper section for me is I'm probably going to maybe fade Rory here at 11.5, save the 1K, and not get that ownership on my builds, and then start with Sammy Burns here. I really like Burns in this spot.
Rory really is the interesting one. So, like, if you aren't aware, Rory is the president of the players. What do they call it? Advisory Council, and has been for some time. And if you're not, if you live under a rock and you haven't been following it was on CNBC today. So, like, you should know about this news. PGA Tour, LIV combining, and a lot of these players, they found out on Twitter. They found out when we found out. Absolutely insane. So, given the fact that Rory is in this role where, he's got to be getting hit up with questions 24/7. It's going to be another dynamic, another added pressure, more on his plate. Drew, what are you doing with the top range? And then give your thoughts on Rory. Does this situation with everything unfolding and him being such a critic of LIV, does it have any factor on his play this week? Or as a golfer, can he just like put that out of sight, out of mind?
Yeah, not only that, this is the weird part for me is, the announcement came on CNBC, but they were in studio for the announcement, both of them, the Saudi guy and Jay Monahan. Then Jay Monahan flew up to Canada for the tournament to do his player speech. Like he said, it happened last night, but then they were in studio for CNBC to do an announcement live. So I'm not sure what was going on there, but yeah, there's suffice it to say, I think McIlroy is probably kind of pissed off a bit. I kind of take that as a negative, to be honest. I thought about it for a while, and I was like, I could see him just not caring this week and not withdrawing, but just heading out. He's already heading home Friday. That's basically what my thought was. So otherwise, McIlroy would be the king of this Canadian Open for sure. Even though they rotate golf courses, he does really well in these low scoring events. But I'm with Uncle T. Sam Burns. I'm not a big Burns guy, but he has been playing pretty consistent across a lot of facets of his game. So I'm fine with starting there. And then Tyrrell Hatton's the other guy. I mean, he's been so consistent. I mean, he grades out the best for me over 10K, even better than Rory, to be quite honest. Rory's approach games last week didn't help. You're missing greens from 90 yards and making bogeys definitely hurts. But yeah, I think Burns and Hatton are fine spin ups, and especially in this field, this is one of those fields where you kind of want a stud, and then try to find your values later. You kind of want some win equity, I think, up top, and those are the two for me.
Yeah, I agree with that very much. I'm also leaning maybe fading Rory. Snyder, unless you can talk me into it, what are you doing with his top range this week?
Yeah, I'm not going to play Rory either. I don't think he can withdraw from this event, but I don't think he's going to be emotionally or even anywhere near playing good golf for this week. I think, like Drew said, he's going to be heading out late Friday after this event, heading to LA to get ready for next week's event. But I mean, Rory's such a big face, and with this news, there's just no way. I don't think he can withdraw, but I don't think he's going to be mentally there for this week. So I'm going to be off him. I think he's going to be right around 30% ownership. I'm seeing 27 to 30% probably around there. And I would much rather just slide down to Tyrrell Hatton for $1,300 cheaper. He's been playing great form leading in. I was 3rd, 5th, 15th, and 12th in his last 4 events. He's been finding fairways off the tee at a high clip, and he's been hitting greens at around 70% rate over his last 36 rounds. So really like Hatton up top here. He's going to be a little bit lower owned than Rory, but I think he's still going to be 20 to 25% ownership. So he's still going to carry some. Burns is a solid option. He's been playing good the last 2 weeks after a couple of poor outings there at the PGA and then the Wells Fargo. So I think they're both a solid options up there. I think I'd lean to Hatton just because I've been playing Hatton for the last month or so. So I'll just keep rolling with him, even with the price hike for him.
Yeah, very good. I mean, it worries me going 4 for 4, but my lean is like to fade Rory. It's just so like, I mean, who knows? I'm with you guys, though. We got a major next week. He's looked good at times, but there's something off with this game. Like he had it there. He was, obviously in the final group on Sunday, couldn't get it done. Didn't really even need to do much to get it done either. You got to think like hindsight. He's just like, gosh, if I would have just gone out, grinded a few more pars, limited, big scores, could have gotten it done. Didn't do it. So something's off with this game. And I just don't like that coming into a birdie fest. I love where Sam Burns' game is at. I think when you just look at scoring, he's making a ton of birdies right now. His putter's pretty hot. He has the occasional missed cut. When he makes a cut, he's typically scoring, typically posting pretty good. So for me in this range, I'm going Sam Burns. I don't know if I can get to Hatton. We'll see. It really is going to depend on what I do with the 9K range, but he does grade out really well. If I had to pick one between these three, I'm going to go Sammy Burns for me. Uncle T, let's go right back to you. 9K range, much larger range, lots of options. I want to know what you guys are doing with Cam Young. Like, what's wrong with this guy? Missed a couple cuts in a row. He's looked awful. We got a birdie fest, though. We got a shorter course. The guy can hit it farther than anyone in this field, pretty much. What are you doing with Cam Young?
Yeah, real quick, AP, before I get to that, I think as you guys were talking here, I was kind of doing, just playing around with I haven't done anything like you guys either as far as making any builds yet, but I think it's obviously no problem at all to skip the whole 10K range altogether. Obviously, you can do that any week, but this week, especially with this 9K range, and we'll get into it here, it's kind of loaded in my opinion. I like a lot of guys in this range. So while I do like Sammy Burns up top, I'm kind of liking where, you can even start with two of these guys in the 9K range. So starting off at the top, speaking with Fitzpatrick, I'd never get this guy right. So full disclosure on that before I even continue with Fitzy. Drew and I and Big T had a little fun with him a couple weeks ago when he missed the cut. But he opened up with a 76 last week, right? In the opening round at the Memorial, he comes back in T9s. He gets a top 10 after starting out with a 76 on Thursday. Kind of like that. I kind of like how he battled there. He's one of them guys along with Rory. I'm a little shocked that they're playing this week, leading into next week, but I don't necessarily mind Fitzy. And then right below him, you've got Corey Connors. Obviously, he's the top Canadian ranked golfer. I think he's maybe 30th. I'm not really sure, but I think I'll probably pass on him as well. 9,800 is still a pretty hefty price tag to pay for Corey Connors. The guys I'm kind of more interested in is in this middle range. I like Justin Rose, I like Fleetwood, and I like Shane Lowry. I can't remember the last time I've liked Shane Lowry, but I like the way his game sets up here. I like his approach game, where his approach game's at, which I think is going to be very beneficial this week at this track. So I like Big Shane. I don't know that I'll play both Rose and Fleetwood because I guess I could play three guys in this middle range, but I'm trying to make a cut. I'm hoping maybe you guys will talk me maybe in or out of one of these two guys, but they seem to both fit pretty well. I was off Fleetwood a couple weeks ago when everyone was on him at the Colonial when he miscut. I kind of like the flop lag here, even though
is that a subtle dig right there? I mean, is that a dig? Like,
did you have him?
I did have him.
I didn't know you had him. I mean, man, a lot of people did.
Are we going to get into it already, Uncle T?
No, I didn't know you had him.
No, I loved him that week, and he sucked. It was terrible.
Man. I just knew a lot of people, not necessarily RPS, but I knew a lot of the industry was on him, and I took a stance, and I got lucky, and he miscut. And then Justin Rose, I think, does as well. I mean, he's been playing some really good golf, and it's just a little sticker shock for me to pay, mid-9s, upper 9s for Rose and Fleetwood, but they're playing pretty good right now. The guy I'm going to be off to answer your initial question, AP, to start the range, I'm going to be off on Cam Young, and honestly, at 25% plus, he just hasn't been good, right? He T7'd at the Masters, and then all of a sudden, it's almost like he forgot to play, how to play golf. Like 4 straight not good tournaments, a couple high finishes, and then 2 missed cuts. Not sure what's going on with Tesori and him, but they need to get it figured out because he's not playing very well. So I think I'm gonna fade that high ownership on Cam Young and kind of wait and see him kind of come back up, with his level of play. The other guy I got interest in here, I don't have any interest in Matt Kuchar at 9K or 9,100, but I do have a little interest in Sahith Theegala. I played him last week. He did disappoint me. He made the cut, but finished pretty far down, down the standings. But 18 straight cuts made, I think, for Theegala, and I think this is the type of track he can get going and get some birdies. So I like the middle of this range, and then I like Theegala at the bottom.
So I'm not buying the Cam Young projected ownership. We've all been doing this a long time, and people just look at that. They look at his recent form, and they're going to talk themselves out of a guy like Cam Young. My problem, and I'll save it, but I feel like he could absolutely nuke this range, like an easy course, big boy driver. The guy makes a ton of birdies, and he could go so low. So I don't know. I'm really torn. I do kind of like him, but Drew, let me go over to you. 9K range. I think Cam Young is kind of the more interesting discussion point here. Because I see the high ownership projection on him. I'm not buying it. I think he could just crush this course. And I'm trying to overlook the last couple weeks or last couple times he's teed it up. What are you doing with this range? What are your thoughts on Cam Young?
Yeah, Cam Young's a sticking point. It really depends on the ownership. 25 to 30%, I'm not going to play it. But honestly, if he was lower owned, if he's going to be in the teens and specifically the low teens, I'd be willing to jump right back on the bandwagon for Cameron Young this week. Despite the missed cuts, he actually has some decent underlying data for opportunities inside of 18 feet. And even 12 feet. So he hasn't been driving it very straight. And I think he could figure that out and play well in any given week, just as soon as he starts hitting a few more fairways. For me, it's really going to be Justin Rose. He's the guy that stands out the most to me. So he has had in his last 2 tournaments, I think. Let's see here. Yeah. So his last 2 tournaments, he's had 10% more shots inside of 18 feet than the field. He's got 8% more shots inside of 12 12 feet in the field. So I think Rose is my number one in the 9K range. I'm not sold on Lowry just yet. It'll be a fade. Thigala I'm totally fine with. And Corey Connors, I think, just makes sense in Canada. He always tends to play well on these courses. And we don't know a lot about the golf course, but he has done well on good birdie courses, even though we know him not as a putter. So yeah, for me, it's really Justin Rose 1. We'll say it really depends on Cameron Young. I guess Thigala 2, and then Corey Connors 3. My fades in this range are Fleetwood, Lowry, and Kuchar.
So like with the Canadians at this event, I almost always like fade them or lean fade. Like if I go back and look over the last like 2-3 years, I've always been underweight on them. Might change this year with all the drama, with everything going on, with all the noise going on. Maybe it's enough to get me back on the Canadians. And I'm always a sucker for Corey Connors. He's having such an incredible year too. So I might be on that play with you, Drew. Snyder, 9K range, lots of options here. Your boy Cam Young, I think you and Locke kind of calling for a breakout year earlier on with the caddy switch, and he was awesome at the Masters T7, and really looked phenomenal at the match play event before that too. And then he's been a complete disaster. T51, T59, cut, miscut. What are you doing with our boy Cam Young this week and the 9K range?
Yeah, I'm going to continue to be off Cam Young. I haven't really played him since the Heritage. I think I played him at the Masters, and then I played him at the Heritage, and then I never went back to him after that T51 he had at Heritage. So I think I'm going to stay off him. I actually like Corey Connors quite a bit this week. I think he's going to be the lowest owned guy, price 9,300 and above. I think he'll come in somewhere around, looks like 15% or so, 15 to 18% maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower. So I'm going to be on Connors quite a bit. He's been playing well. He was 12th at the PGA, 8th at the Wells Fargo before that. Did miss cut last week, which is actually pretty good. I like the flop leg with him coming into this week. He was 6th in the Canadian event last year in 2022. I think he's a guy I'm going to be targeting. I'm going to be well over the field on Connors to get different. I think Rose is going to be the most popular guy in this range, followed by Cameron Young. And then I think I may try and get to some Lowry too. I've been playing Lowry a lot in the last 2 to 3 events. He played well last week, 16th at the Memorial. I think he's a guy that generally plays good in Canada. I mean, he's finished 10th, 2nd, and 12th in his last 3 events here in Canada. So I like some Shane Lowry there as well. And then if I can fit Rose in there, it just depends on if I full on skip the 10K range, I'll play Rose. I've been on him pretty much this whole year. And I think it just comes down to if I want to play Hatton or Rose or something. That'll be something I'll have to look at too, and look at builds too. I'm not going to play too many builds. I don't think I'm in an MME this week. I think I'm going to save that for next week and just play, like 5 to 8 lineups or something this week and see what kind of builds I can get from there. But Connors is my favorite guy in this range, followed by Lowry probably.
Yeah, very good. 5 to 8 lineups. I mean, that would technically fit the definition, Snyder, of MME. So you are on board with the MME this week. I always like multi-entering this in events like this where you get a birdie fest, and I typically just like to get different if I can, because a lot of these guys can score. You can see these weird leaderboards. And so I think it's a good kind of mix and match, have a tight player pool type of week. Looking at the 9K range for me, I love Sahith Theegala, 9,200, making a ton of birdies right now, 2nd over the last 24 rounds in birdies made. Justin Rose up there too, ranked 6th in my birdie model that I'm looking at. And then Cam Young, despite how bad he's been, I'm still showing a good number on birdies gained. It's just it's the bad scores. And I'm hopeful that I hope this is going to be a track where you can avoid the doubles and bogeys. If you can do that, I think Cam Young could absolutely nuke this course. So I can't remember who it said. I think Uncle T, it was you that said it. Starting with the 9K range, like starting your builds with Justin Rose, fading everyone above him, maybe except Corey Connors. I think I'm definitely fading Fitzpatrick. But if you just fade everyone above him, those builds are going to look pretty nice. And I think it's going to come with quite a bit of win equity versus like going one stud plus getting a bunch of values, or especially 2 studs. So I'm really liking this 9K range. I really like Justin Rose. Shane Lowry I'm going to go back to. The putter let him down somewhat last week. He was good ball striking, though, good on approach as well. T16 at the Memorial. Sahith, Cam Young, definitely going on. Matt Kuchar, I mean, I don't know. He feels way overpriced. 9,100. I mean, that price tag alone. I know it's a weaker field and a little bit different, but I don't think I can do it. The shorter course I know does help him too, but if I had to eliminate some people here, it's Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, and then I do like a lot of the other plays. Connors, Rose, Lowry, Cam Young, and Thigala is where I'm at. If you haven't yet hit the like button, hit the subscribe. It helps us out a lot. If you missed the start, post your winner. Who do you think is going to win in the comment section? Not the chat, in the comment section. Who you think is going to win? And then your next 2 top finishers, the highest finishers on the week this week. Next week, we'll shout you out and we'll do some type of drawing, either a ticket, swag, undecided right now, but we'll do that for the U.S. Open next week. Uncle T, it's back to you. We're down to the 8K range. What are you doing down here?
Yeah, with liking, quite a bit in that range we just talked about, I'm not finding myself in this 8K range a whole lot. I'm hoping, again, maybe you guys can maybe put me on a couple guys, but one guy I do like for sure, and let me start with the top, though. Keith Mitchell and Adam Hadwin, you want to talk about overpriced. I couldn't imagine playing Keith Mitchell right now. He's in bad form. 8,900. He closed with a 79, almost shot 80 on Sunday at the Memorial. I just can't do it. Adam Hadwin, obviously another Canadian that I just think is way overpriced. I really like one of my favorite plays actually on the board, Adrian Meronk. I like this guy quite a bit. And again, he feels overpriced at all. I know I'm going to keep saying it, but I do like Adrian Meronk here. He's coming off of he won in Italy about a month ago, and then he followed it up with a T5 a couple weeks later. And then he finished respectable T40 at the PGA. I think this guy's game, the more he gets these high finishes, I think that was his 3rd win, if I'm not mistaken, in the last 10 months, albeit on the other tour. But still, this guy's gaining more and more confidence. I really like Adrian Meronk. He's one of my favorite plays on the board here, 8,600. I do have some interest in Adam Svensson. I've played him a little bit over the last couple weeks. He hasn't had, any great finishes, but T13th all the way back at the Players. Obviously, that was a long time ago, but it shows that his game can, kind of pop at times. So I do like Svensson a little bit. Our boy, Drew, if you remember from last week, Nikolai Hodggaard, as Big T called him, he really hurt our feelings with the miscut last week, and I don't think I'll be going back to him. And then the only other guy I have interest in here is at the bottom, Michael Kim. I'm pretty sure, Snyder, he was a Soldier once, maybe twice the last 4 or 5 weeks. Michael Kim has a couple top 10 finishes in his last 3 starts. Again, feels 8K is way too expensive, but seeing ownership on these guys at the bottom of this 8K range down under 10% AP. So for me in this range, though, I'll make it quick. Adrian Meronk by far number 1 for me in this range. And then I'll go Svensson 2 and Michael Kim 3.
I like it. No mention of my boy Benny On, though. Kind of hurtful.
He's not playing.
Oh, you down. God. That's gonna get me a couple times. I gotta pull up my other sheet. Ah, man. He looks so. I'm looking at the stats right now. He looks so good.
He does.
In this field. Well, hey, you might have sold me on your boy Adrian Meronk, since I can't play my guy Benny On. Drew, what are you doing with the 8K range?
Yeah, I will. I'll give kudos to Uncle T. I think Meronk is a great play this week. Meronk's been playing fantastic, and honestly, in this field, just playing well means quite a bit. And honestly, a T40 at the PGA Championship is nothing to sneeze at for a guy in this field. So, played really well. When he does play well, he contends and possibly wins on the DP World Tour, and he's in good shape for this type of venue. It kind of sets up like a DP World Tour course to me. I will go back to Hogard though. Unlike Uncle T, and I'll tell you why. So I think he lost like 4.5 strokes on approach in 2 rounds last week, but he lost over 3 on just 3 holes. So I'm willing to go back to him. He's one of the longest guys in golf. He just needs to drive it straight. Honestly, his opportunities look really solid despite how poorly his approach numbers looked last week. So I will go back to Hogard. Seems like I'm going Europeans here, but Aberg, Ludwig Aberg. If you're going to say that Cameron Young's ownership is going to be skewed a little bit too high, he's going to come in lower, then I think Aberg's ownership is going to be too low and end up being much higher. He's the NCAA Player of the Year. He just got his PGA Tour card, full status, being number 1 on the PGA Tour U. And the dude is phenomenal. He did not win NCAA finals, but he's won pretty much everything else. Shot 59 the week before. And I'm really not a guy to hype up young guys coming onto the tour, but Aberg is just different. The dude is very solid. He's very polished, kind of like a Victor Hovland, to be honest. So I'm willing to give it a shot. His first event on as a professional, 8,300 for Aberg, and the bottom range there, Michael Kim, I am willing to go back to as well. Pretty much everyone else I did not mention will be a fade.
Yeah, I like that. He wasn't really on my radar. Yeah, API, T24 at the Arnold Palmer. I mean, you like that?
He's just
I'll
good.
ride with you.
He's good.
Yeah, Moronk and Aberg.
Yeah.
2 guys I just added to my pool this week. Snyder, can you make it a third? What are we doing with this 8K range?
Yeah, I think I can only really get to a couple of these guys. If I'm going to play 3 or 4 guys in that 9K range and above, I don't think I'll be able to get overweight on too many of these guys. I do like a couple guys there. I do like Michael Kim quite a bit. He was a soldier. I believe he was a soldier at the Wells Fargo where he finished 7th, was 6th at the Charles Schwab. He was 5th at the Puerto Rico a while back also. So that's 3 top 7s in his last 9 events, making the cut in his last 8. I really like Michael Kim. He's made the cut in 8 of his last 9 events. I mean, he can get a hot putter too in an easier track like this. If the putter catches fire, I think he has a chance to be live to win this event even. So I like Michael Kim quite a bit in this range. I'll be overweight on him. But it looks like Michael Kim's going to be under 10% owned too. I think like Adberg, I think he gets kind of steamed up. I think Moronk's going to be pushing 15% maybe, which he's fine. The only thing that worries me with Moronk would be his driving accuracy with these narrow fairways that are only about 25 yards wide. He's definitely a fine play though. He had a good finish at the Honda earlier this year, back in like February, I believe. Moronk did on the tour. I think he's fine. I definitely like Michael Kim the best, and then Adam Svensson would probably be the second guy I would go to. I think he's a pretty steady Eddie cut maker guy. I don't know how much upside he really holds here at 8,500. But I think Michael Kim definitely has the most upside, I think, in this 8K range. I'm going to be the highest on him this week.
I mean, Adam Svensson won. What did he win? The something classic. RSM, right? RSM. Yeah. So
I was just looking at his last 10 events.
Oh, I mean, we can't go back any further, Snyder. Like, we can't go back 15 events, include that win. I mean,
I don't have my model.
No upside. I mean, all recency bias. Here we go.
He won the RSM back in November of last year. He won
to Snyder's credit, though, I will say, like, from a Michael Kim, I think he won the John Deere Classic. This will probably be more like a John Deere Classic than the RSM, kind of, trying to hit fairways and big greens. And yeah, Michael Kim won the John Deere Classic. So I will argue, though, I think Aberg still has more upside than Michael Kim. I would take a 1v1 on any given day. Aberg playing Michael Kim, I just think he's phenomenal. So, but I think Michael Kim's a great play. So kudos.
Yeah, and this if you just think of the John Deere, that's a great great tournament to bring up. Like, shorter hitters can do well there, and it's about hitting fairways, hitting greens, making putts, and so yeah, that's why I like Michael Kim in this range. I do think he's a great play. I'm going to join you on Aberg. Is that his name? I like him now.
Ludwig Aberg, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Moronk, I may just to make Uncle T happy.
Let's go,
I might play him since I can't play Benny on. But no, I really like it. Again, so I talked about it earlier. Like, I usually fade the Canadians at this event. And just with everything that's gone down, I'm like, maybe this is Canada's time. Maybe they win their home event. Well, I don't know. When's the last time the Canadians won this event? Anyone know? Have they even won it?
No, they ever have they?
I don't know either. Maybe they defend their home turf. I mean, you have some Canadians that are playing really good golf right now. I think Svensson's one of those. Good ball striker. He's still making some birdies. Not the longest hitter, too. So I do think this is going to be a course that sets up decent for him from what I'm seeing. You could throw Nick Taylor in there too. I just think these Canadians that have shown some type of upside recently, I'm going to be over on. And if I go back, listen to the film the last few years, I think I've been fading them at this event. So I'm going to go full 3 circle and get on the Canadians. We got Big T in chat. Always fade Canada. I know. I usually do. And I'm going to be in Discord with the sorry gif all week. All right, Uncle T, let's go back to you. Let's get to the 7K range. Pretty nice range down here. We got Snyder's boy, Matt McNeely, who's been an absolute disaster, Snyder. So when we get to him, I want your thoughts on it. But Uncle T, what are we doing with the 7K range?
Yeah, the upper 7K range for me, I do have a couple guys in here I like, but not the best range for me, actually. Alex Smalley. Oh, well, I'll let Snyder talk about Eric Cole because he plays him every week, and he's usually a good play, and I like Eric Cole. But I'll let him talk about him. Alex Smalley is a guy that I always try to make work. He was playing pretty well going into last week, and then he shot an 80 in the first round on Thursday. So I don't know what to make of Smalley because he grades out fairly well here, but I might end up passing on him. Aaron Wise, no thanks. I got to wait until I see some kind of form back from his little hiatus before I pay $7,800 for Aaron Wise. Taylor Pendrith, another guy, not in the best form, but it feels like he can pop. The odds makers, 80-1 on DraftKings right now for 7,700. Feels like they at least respecting him a little bit. Matt McNeely is the guy that Vegas-wise getting some nice numbers here. 55-1 for a $7,700 guy. That just feels like someone likes him other than me out in the desert. So the 2 guys I do like, I'll get to here, both at 7,600. I don't know if I've recommended this guy on a show in a long time. Aaron Rye. I'm actually on 2 gloves this week.
No, come on.
I'm on him this week. I like his approach play here. I like Aaron Rye, and I also like Harry Hall. I like the boom bust as Harry Hall has. He was in contention a couple weeks ago, and he didn't finish, didn't get the job done. But I kind of like this guy's game, and at 7,600, he'll be probably around 9 or 10%. I like Harry Hall. And then going down a little bit, Vincent Norman, I think he's a guy that Drew and I have been on a little bit at times the last couple of weeks. Been playing some pretty good golf. T8 at the Byron Nelson, T48 at the Charles Schwab. Wasn't the greatest finish, but a nice made cut there for him. I think people will be on Lee Hodges here. Again, he feels a little bit too cheap in this field. And then do you want me to go all the way down, AP, or just 7,500?
No, keep going.
Okay, yeah, I'll just round it out. I'll just mention a couple other names so I don't take them all. Like Mark Hubbard is one of my favorite plays in the whole 9K range. I play him quite a bit. He's going to carry a little bit of ownership, I think, here towards the bottom of this 7K range, but I really like Mark Hubbard. Ben Martin, another good value play down here at 7,300. And I'll round it out with our boy Akshay Bhatia. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but that's okay. 7,200. I like a little Akshay Bhatia. So, a few guys I like here. Again, I'm going to try to, for the most part, grab maybe 2 of those guys in the 9K range. I'm not sure. Again, Tuesday show here, I'm a little off kilter here. I'm used to kind of doing all my research tonight and then tomorrow. I'm not sure how I'm going to do in this 7K range, but those are just a handful of guys I like at this point.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot of these shorter hitters, my boy Nasty Nate, Mark Hubbard. I like the Akshay call. I think a lot of these guys are in play as far as DFS-wise go. As far as win equity, I mean, that's where you just want to anchor your builds with multiple pieces up top. But I do like the 7K range. Drew, what are you doing with the 7K range this week?
Yeah, before I skip over them, I'll give you another no stats guy that you won't have on your sheet. AP is Michael Thorbjornsen. He is from, I think, Massachusetts, but he was a All-American in college. He got to play in the Travelers, I think, last year, and he just was medalist yesterday for the U.S. Open qualifier, so he'll be going to the U.S. Open next week. So I think at 7,600, I'm willing to give him a shot, and he should be super low owned, mainly because people don't pull stats they don't have any stats to pull, so they won't pull any stats. And I think Michael Thorbjornsen is an interesting one. Some of the regulars I've just been playing a ton is Sam Stevens.
He's not playing.
Did he withdraw?
I think he withdrew.
Yeah, he withdrew.
Double check me on that, but I think he withdrew.
Oh, you're probably right. I pulled Ben on out, and I didn't pull Sam Stevens out. So me and AP are 1 for 1.
We
We're
are.
tied.
We
We
got your
definitely
back.
are.
Well, that stinks. That was a really good lineup with Sam Steve. Now I got to redo everything.
Go down to our boy Norman.
No, Vincent Norman. Yeah, I was going to mention him. Vincent Norman is another guy. He grades out extremely well. If you want to take advantage of this golf course, you can definitely do it off the tee. Obviously, you need to hit some good approaches and make some putts, but he's got all the tools. I think Vincent Norman rates out the best for me under like 8,500. So I'm good with going to Vincent Norman. At the top, I'm with you. There's no way I'm playing Aaron Wise. I'm not really sold on Brendan Todd, and he also withdrew last week. No Smalley. And I'm not there with you on McNeely. He just struggles off the tee, man. He really does. He gets it done a little bit with approach and a lot with putting, but not anywhere else. And then Taylor Pendrith, another Canadian I'll go to. For the cheap guys, I'm really on the same guys that Uncle T said. Mark Hubbard, Akshay Bhatia, and there's one other interesting one. I'm willing to try David Lipsky. I think we talked about this on the Showdown show on Thursday night, Snyder. We talked about David Lipsky, a guy we brought up every day. Right? Yeah. And we talked about him it doesn't make sense. We talked about him every day the week prior for Showdown. The dude was popping, playing decent. Then he pops on Thursday last week and played pretty well throughout the entire week. So I learned my lesson last week. I'm going to play some David Lipsky here, and hopefully you can keep it going for 3 straight weeks. And, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, he looked good last week at the Memorial. Obviously, a much tougher course. I kind of just wonder if the birdies will be lagging a little bit coming from such a tough track, going to what we predict is going to be an easier one. I don't know. I
think it could open the floodgates. I think it
could.
Yeah, I think honestly, going from a really tough track to an easy track, everything opens up for you. Things are a little less demanding off the tee, a little less demanding into the greens, and you can take some really good form on a tough track and convert it to a birdie fest easier than I think taking a really easy track like this, I guess, and then going to the U.S. Open, it doesn't convert as well. You can get away with some shots here, but I think hard to easy is a good way to go. I don't think easy to hard is a great way to go. So, yeah, I think it can convert.
Yeah, no, that makes plenty of sense. And just to set the record straight, Mav McNeely, not my boy. It is though, Snyder's boy. Or maybe used to be Snyder's boy. Snyder, what's going on with Mav? I mean, he's been pretty bad. Is this a track where he can get us any type of form back? What are you doing with this range?
I don't think I'm going to be playing him. I haven't played him much at all this year. Maybe a few times early in the year when we were on the West Coast swing, where he usually plays his best. I think there's a guy in this range, though, that's the best play on the board. I don't think you guys named him either. I think he's definitely the best price per dollar play and potentially the best play on the board here. Carson Young at 7,100. I've been playing him a lot lately as a value option. Now he's up into the 7K range, barely 7,100. He's finished T21 or better in 4 of his last 6 events. The iron and flat stick have been great for him. I think he could really pop here at this easier track. So I'm going to be maybe even locking in Carson Young to every lineup. He'll definitely be a soldier this week as well. I think Carson Young is potentially the best play on the board this week, so I'm going to keep rostering him. And on paper, I think this 7K range is super easy. I mean, just the guys I've been playing all look to be popping here on paper. Vincent Norman, I've been on him about every week. He's been crushing it. He's been great, gaining 5 strokes his last 3 events. Ball striking there. He's had a pair of top 10s and an 18th in his last 4 events. So I like Norman. Lipsky's been on a roll the last 2 weeks. Like Drew said, we've been playing him in Showdown basically every single day, and he's just been printing for us. So I'm going to be going right back to him. And then Hubbard is another strong option this week. I think ownership in this 7K range is going to be pretty spread out. Maybe 2 to 3 guys hit 10% or much. I think Hubbard will be one of those guys that hit 10%, maybe like 10 to 15% on him. I'm still going to be with him. I think he's got some pretty good upside here. 5 straight made cuts. Showing the upside there with the 9th at the Charles Schwab, 11th at the Heritage. He was 30th last week, the Memorial. The tee to green numbers have been great for him. The putter's been up and down for Hubbard. The putter's up. I think he can definitely do some work here. And then Nate Lashley is another guy I've been playing some as of late. Nebraska guy there. He had 4 straight top 40s before the missed cut at the Schwab So I'll be back on Lashley some this week, but I definitely like Carson Young quite a bit in this range.
Yeah, I just looking through this, I really like the bottom part of this range. Starting with Nate Lashley, really good on par threes, great iron player, good on approach, not long off the tee. But if we do think this course plays kind of like the John Deere does, Nate Lashley, a guy I would like to go to. I like the Akshay call. I think that's interesting. I think Mark Hubbard, also a guy who is somewhat interesting. Dylan Wu, 7K, a guy that I don't think anyone has mentioned yet. I mean, he ranks third in my birdie model. The guy's been making or gaining a lot of birdies gained, if you want to call it that. The ball striking's there. I think at a course that is going to play somewhat easy, I think it sets up really well for him. Another guy who's not long up the tee. And then Carson Young. I mean, Snyder, what do you see for ownership on Carson Young? Like, is he going to be chalked down in this range, or do you think it's all going to be like 8 to 12%?
Yeah, I think
max?
it's going to be like somewhere in that 6 to 10% ownership range. Just looking for me at the moment.
That's usually what happens. I mean, that's usually what happens in this range too, right? Like, you're never in the 7K range, 6K range, unless like there's some egregious, just complete mispricing. I mean, maybe Eric Cole, like you were saying, Uncle T, becomes the highest owned in this range. And this is where I think I'm tempted to take some shots, like maybe in MME formats, like some shots on your Scott Piercy types, like your just some random guys. It's just Canadian Open. You could see the old dogs, maybe get some form back, make some birdies before the U.S. Open. So this is definitely the range where I like to open it up a little bit. I like to take some shots. I don't know if I could get as far as Cam Champ. I think he tried to. I think he was in a qualifier and he missed out pretty decently. So his game is just not very good. I mean, Drew, is there any chance this could be a course to where the Bombers could just bomb and gouge, or do you think it's going to be more of a precision? Everyone can find the fairways, and the premium is going to be in finding the fairways.
I honestly don't know. I don't know how the best way to play this golf course is. My take is that the Bombers can definitely overpower it from what I can tell from some of the photos that I saw on Twitter. But I don't know what the lines are. I don't know. I don't know. It does look like if you bomb it, like if Victor Hovland was here, he could overpower this golf course. But if the rough and like the greens firm out, which they might not, it might be more precision off the tee. Like, get it rolling out there. You have, 160 in, you're hitting wedges in there and, having a day. So it's hard to know. I think it's got to be a balance though. You got to look at guys that are doing something well. And if that's as simple as like, are they hitting a lot of greens in regulation? They're playing the golf course well leading into this event. So that's kind of what I'm doing because I don't know. Like, I don't want to just rule out bombers. I don't want to rule out, guys that are short and straight like Ches Reavie. But I think you got to take an approach of recent form. Big T would be on here. You'd be preaching recent form like crazy. But that's my thing. If they're hitting a lot of greens in regulation, that's as good a recent form for me. It means you're at least driving it decent enough and at least driving it well on courses where you need to drive it well. Like last week, you could have missed a lot of fairways. You wouldn't hit a lot of greens. So you kind of got to adapt. So that's me. I just wouldn't rule out either profile.
Yeah, no, very good comments. And I do think it's a reach, though, going to Cam Champ. I mean, the guy, again, like everyone else calls me crazy when I get on him, but it's like, of course, like the Mexico Open, where he could bomb and gouge it, overpower the course. And it was an easy course, too. He just randomly shows up and pops. Outside of that, it's like constantly missing cuts and being terrible.
I don't want to let you play him, AP. I respect you too much to let you play your hard-earned money.
I guarantee, Uncle T, you said that to me the week that he probably won.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's more of like a sprinkle. Yeah. You have your core, and you open it up for some guys that 1 out of 20 times show winning upside, which he is. He has 2 wins on tour. I mean, he's terrible. He's been terrible. Yeah. It's just randomly he has that week where he shows up. I don't think it's going to be for the record, just to set the record straight. I don't think it's going to be this week. What I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if the winner did randomly come out of this range. If we did see some right before the U.S. Open, like a random guy, like a Mark Hubbard or Well, I got Nate Lashley. He's got, 1 or 2 wins also on tour. So it wouldn't surprise me to see the winner come out of this range.
I got a stat for you, though, AP. Would you believe it that in the top 10 in this field, Cameron Champ is not even the top 10 longest guy? He's like lost distance.
Wow. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I would believe it.
Yeah.
He's like these guys up and coming just hit it a freaking mile. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, I think he's trying to go for some more accuracy or something, because I'm looking at his tournament by tournament stats, and he's gone from like gaining 25 yards on the field to gaining like 1 yard or losing 4 yards on the field. So something's going on. That's
insane. I do got to say that my favorite, Dylan Wu, and I think they call him Dylan. Is that right? That's what Kurt calls him.
Yeah, that's what
Kurt. What a donkey. Dylan Wu, though, I like how he sets up for this course. I don't think he misses 3 cuts in a row. I think he bounces back. I think he gets us a nice finish here. Uncle T, let's kick it over to you. Let's round out the 6K range.
Yeah, I'm hoping not to, maybe get in this range a whole lot, but I'll name a couple guys down here that have my interest, at least on this Tuesday night. Sam Bennett, 6,900, a little bit of interest there. And Big Sam. Grayson Murray, he hasn't played a whole lot of tour events. Obviously, he's got a win and a third on the Korn Ferry Tour, I think, in the last 3 starts. T15 earlier at the Puerto Rico. Obviously, can't draw a lot on that other than, the last couple of events he has been playing good golf. He's 6,900. Grayson Murray, a little bit of interest there. Going down the board a little bit, Callum Tarrant, 6,700. Feels like in this type of a field, he's kept his salary what it normally is, and now we're in a lot lesser field, and he's still, in that mid to upper 6K range. So I got a little bit of interest in Callum Tarrant. Kramer Hickok down there at 6,700. A little bit of interest there. And I think that's about it, AP. Those are the only guys I had flagged. I like I said, I'm trying to, Smotherman, I've tried to make work a couple times. I just can't get on the right side of him. He's got a couple miscuts with the T5 and the T21 in the last 4 events, but I just have had bad luck on trying to figure out when he's going to play good. So I do think he would be a decent play down here as well. But Grayson Murray, I like quite a bit, and probably Callum Tarrant, I think, is a real good value play at 6,700.
All right, very good. Drew, kick it over to you. 6K range. What are you doing down here this week?
Yeah, so a lot of the same plays that Uncle T said. One he didn't mention, though, is Sung-Yil No. I think he's made like 7 straight cuts since earlier in the year. No huge, great finishes, but we know Sung-Yil No from a few years ago. He does have some good talent, and I'm willing to try it out on a weaker field like this. Dr. Redmond was another one. I don't think Uncle T mentioned. I can't get behind Sam Bennett just yet. The guy's just he played decent, obviously, the Masters, and actually had a decent finish, made the cut last week. So I don't hate it, but I'm still gonna do a wait and see approach for him. Outside of that, I think Kramer Hickok, like Uncle T said, I like that play. Ryan Gerard, I'm gonna have a few of Ryan Gerard, and I think that's pretty much it outside of the ones that Uncle T said. There's really not a ton of guys. I mean, you're looking at really slim numbers. I mean, the guys are like, they gained a stroke somewhere in the last month. That's about it. Ryan Moore's approach numbers look pretty good, but off the tee is not the best. So it's really a mixed bag. I'll tell you one guy that shows up pretty high for me. I haven't looked at him too much, is Kevin Roy. And I think we brought him up a couple weeks ago. I'm going to see what his recent tournaments look like. Yeah, so T18 at the Mexico Open, missed cut at the AT&T Byron Nelson. Then he's been playing some Korn Ferry Tour events. So I might still take a chance on him, though. I played him a couple months ago at the Zurich Classic and the Mexico Open. So that's probably it. I think Kramer Hickok's probably my favorite play in this range. If I'm going to sum it up at all. I know I talked all over the place there, but that's pretty much it.
But I mean, this range does look pretty thin. It's funny. I had Doc Redmond checked as well. He did fine for us, probably a year and a half ago now. It's been a while since this guy's found some form, but he's never been long off the tee. If anything, he's been somewhat erratic off the tee. But the guy can get hot with the putter. He has a nice short game. he can get it going. He was T30 at the AT&T Byron Nelson. I don't know. I think he earned a star from me. I might be on Doc Redman with you, Drew. Snyder, 6K range. What are you doing down here? Hopefully you got a gem for us, someone that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, there's not too much down here that I have a ton of conviction on. I'm going to try as hard as I can to finish my builds in the bottom of that 7K range with a guy like Carson Young. But there's a couple names down here. Kramer Hickok, he gained over 6 strokes to the green in his last event, the Schwab, finishing 21st. I like him. I've got some conviction on Doc Redman, how you guys have just talked about there. Finished 30 in his last event. Looks like one of the better names in this range. And then a Korn Ferry Tour guy that I've kind of been watching recently is a guy by the name of Jake Knapp. I think it's how you pronounce his last name. I've been watching him there. He's got 4 top 10s on the Korn Ferry Tour. He's been the best par 5 player on that tour this year. I think he'll be like 1% owned. He's interesting for large field tournaments. I think he's interesting there, but I don't really see too much. I like the Soon You'll Know play down there. He's got some upside. He's shown some flashes at times. He can make some birdies and such. Grayson Siggs down here. He hasn't really been playing that good at all outside of the Mexico Open. He played good in Mexico. Maybe he can play good in Canada this time, but I don't really see too much guys down here. No one's really has any good recent form heading in down here, so just going to try and get my builds to end in the 7K range. But yeah, there's a couple names down here I think you can go to.
Was Tyson Alexander a guy that you talked about like long ago?
Yeah,
or am I thinking
it's big birdie upside. Yeah, he's a super streak.
He's been bad form, but
guy. Yeah.
At this rate, man, it's tough. You got Sung Kang down here.
Sung Kang.
Oh, man. You got Michael Gillett. He's a Canadian. I mean, gosh, it gets so bad in a hurry. I mean, this is where it's just optimal to like I would not blame anyone for just Xing this whole range out and doing what you said, Snyder, ending in the 7K range. I think that is a viable strategy this week. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to have a few of these guys in MME formats. I like the call on Jake Knapp. Is that what you said?
Yeah, he's a Korn Ferry guy. I've been kind of
he looks like he bombs it off the tee. Ranks second in driving distance. Drew, is that right? I'm looking over the last 24 rounds. I mean, this dude looks like he can absolutely nuke it. So yeah, if that is the case, I'm going to be on Jake Knapp with you, Snyder. I like the Doc Redman call. I talked about that with Drew. I mean, I always like to consider my boy Tyler Duncan, but yeah, he's been so bad. T58, miscut. I can't do it. I am a sucker for some good recent form, so I just can't do it. The Soon You'll Know, I think that's an interesting call. I could have him in my player pool. But honestly, the more I think about it, you can end your I love the bottom 7K range. I didn't even talk about my guy Andrew Novak. He's been playing some good golf of late. He's been awesome on par 3s. The irons are dialed in. He's making cuts. I thought he was 6K. That's why I didn't mention him, but he's 7K to go along with those other guys I talked about. So Snyder, I might be joining you. I might add Doc Redman into the pool. He's one guy I think you guys talked me into, but I'm considering just being very underweight on the 6K range. Maybe him and Kramer Hickok are the two that I go to. Outside of that, it's just such a dusty range. Let's go on and move on to our winners. How we do it each and every week. We pick who we think is going to win, no odds factored in, and then we give a long shot that we like. Then we'll get to our final thoughts, and then we'll get out of here. Uncle T, Canadian Open. Who do you got winning this week?
Yeah, I like a couple guys up here that we talked about DFS-wise, and I also like them outright. But I'm going to go with the guy I like coming into the show, and I'm going to stick with him. I like the way his game sets up. Again, for this course, his game has been trending the last couple of weeks with a T12 and a T16. I'm going to go with our guy, Shane Lowry, 20-1 on both DK and FanDuel right now. So Shane Lowry will be my pick up top. I will say a close second was my boy Adrian Moronk. So I do like him quite a bit. Not to drop another name, but you guys know I liked him quite a bit earlier in the show. And for my longer shot, I'm going with our guy Mark Hubbard, all the way down there at 7,300, but
like
80-1 on DK Sportsbook. Mark Hubbard.
Yeah, I like that. I would not be surprised if he was there right at the end. What's up, Moronk? You got Moronk's ownership? Or
Yeah, I've got him. You can get him. I pulled these about an hour before the show. 45-1 on FanDuel is the highest you can get. Yeah,
not bad.
Yeah.
All right, Drew. Who do you got? Who do you got winning? And then a longer shot that you like this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean on Rose, 18-1, 20-1 if you can get it. He grades out extremely well for me. He's been playing so consistent. I think he's at the twilight of his career, trying to get wins, and that's pretty much all he cares about at this point. And he was probably trying to get a live contract. Now he just doesn't have to do that, so he just get wins. So I like Rose quite a bit. I really want to tip Aberg, but I feel like that's just going to be the fish play of getting him for his first win. But the dude is really good. So I'll just do that as like a side-handed like Aberg. I like Aberg. The guy that I want to go down to though, I want to take Penrith. I think he's close to 100-1 on most books. You could say anti-Canadian or whatever you want for the RBC Canadian Open, but I mean some of these guys just they seem like they play well in this course, whether it's in Mexico, Alaska, doesn't matter. So and I know Alaska is part of the United States. I'm just using ridiculous places. I know Uncle T was thinking that. Like, this kid thinks Alaska.
I must not have been listening. I didn't catch that.
That's all right. Taylor Penrith. I think Taylor Penrith's a good one. And he's a long shot. I mean, he's much longer than a lot of guys that I do like, and I don't think he's that far below him.
All right, very good. Taylor Penrith. That's the Canadian angle I was talking about earlier. Snyder. Who you got winning and a longer shot this week? The longer shots are tough. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking right now. They are definitely tough.
Yeah, I've got a Canadian winning this. Corey Connors, 18-1. I'm going to go with him. I do like the Rose and Lowry calls there as well. I think Connors is going to get it done this week. He's been close the last couple of weeks, 12th at the PGA and 8th at the Wells Fargo. I think he gets it done this week. And my longer shot is going to be Carson Young there. You might want to shop the number here. He's 90-1 on DK, but you can get a 125-1 at BetMGM. So make sure to use the price shopping there, find the best line. And I like Carson Young. I think he's going to make a move here and finish at least in the top 10 this week.
Gosh, mine are. I'm going to get made fun of because I don't have like the biggest long shot for my long shot pick, but I got Cam Young winning. I think he just randomly bounces back. Maybe wait on it too. Maybe we'll get better odds on him. What do you get? What are you showing there?
Number
not great.
14 everywhere.
I know.
I've got 14-1 on both DK and FanDuel. That's kind of why I kind of liked him more on the DFS side, but you know what I mean. Just because he's the ninth. He's the ninth. Golfer as far as pricing, but he's 14-1 is what I'm seeing. So.
You can get a 16 at Bet365 if you have access to that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's a bet I want to make. I do think it's more of a DFS play. But right. Theegala at MGM, 28-1. Do you see any better odds on him, Uncle T? I really like Theegala.
30s.
Yeah, 30. That's my longer shot. I know it's not long, but like I think it's a good. I could definitely see Theegala being in contention, if not winning, at a track like this. Yeah, so Theegala is my longer shot to win this week at the Canadian Open. All right, Uncle T, final thoughts this week. Just, your final thoughts. What are you feeling for the Canadian Open?
Yeah, first off, it was good to be back on with you guys. Enjoyed, breaking this thing down. And, we've got – there's still a lot of coverage, right? Snyder does the playbooks. We've got the showdown shows coming up. And then I'm already looking forward to next week at the LA Country Club. I know it's a week away, but, I'll start stuff like you guys will probably over the weekend and start digging into some stuff. Really looking forward to the U.S. Open. And, we got the NBA playoffs, obviously, tomorrow. A lot of good things going on at Run Pure Sports right now. So it's a great time to get signed up and be a member over here. Yeah, very good. Drew, final thoughts this week.
Yeah, I want to see what happens with the Live and PGA Tour deal, and I want to see some angry Rory McIlroy shots. That'd be hilarious. So, Yeah, no big thing. I mean, it's honestly a weaker field, but kind of get ramped up. There's a lot of tickets to be won for the Millie Maker next week, the big one, the 3K. So looking to target some of those qualifiers. And honestly, the fields can be pretty soft with these weak fields. They can throw up some pretty dud lineups. So build with some studs and let's get some qualifier tickets next week.
Yeah, very good. Snyder, your final thoughts.
Yeah, looking forward to this week as usual. I'll have the playbook up tonight. I'll have the cash chart up tonight. We have the core plays. Everybody's got their core plays up as well. I'll have the round 1 showdown playbook up tomorrow as well. And then we'll have showdown content for every round going forward too. Rounds 2, 3, and 4, I'll have those playbooks up. Me and Drew will be on the show Thursday, and then I'll be on the show Saturday with Kurt. So full week planned with everything again, and looking forward to ending this week strong, heading into next week.
Yeah, very good. If you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Helps us out a lot over here at Rumpier Sports. One more time, in the comment section, not the chat, in the comment section, who you think is going to win and overall your top 3 finishers. We're going to give out a bunch of swag, some tickets, a bunch of stuff next week on the show. I believe we'll be going back to a 4-man booth. I believe we'll have our boy Indy Jeff back tonight, or we got to confirm with them. Yeah, and then we'll have, Drew, Uncle T on the premium show on Wednesday.
AP, can I say something real quick?
No, you can't.
Yeah, sorry,
go ahead.
No, sorry to interrupt you. Just a quick, I know Drew and I talked about this, but a quick heads up on the premium next week. We may be moving that show to 3 o'clock Eastern that day. Big T and I will be traveling on our golf trip. So I know, just to give you a heads up, it might be moved to 3 o'clock on Wednesday next week, the premium show.
All right, very good. Yeah, that would be great. But yeah, in the comment section below, get your winners in there. We do want to give out a bunch of swag. We're going to pick multiple. If you're close, good. We're going to give out a bunch of swag, make it a really fun show. With that, fellas, I'm excited to dial in all the content. We got a big week ahead, and then obviously next week with another major, a lot of money to be won. Very excited to dial all of this in. So with that, I'm AP, Snyder, Drew, Uncle T, Snyder, get us out of here.